What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to this week's episode of Round Recap, where we recap the latest round of Rugby League. And I, myself, Harry from Fight and Field Insights, I talk about how great the game of Rugby League is. And we talk about how there's only 4 rounds left, right? There's a month of just clubland left before we get into finals footy. So I'm a little bit upset about that. It's going to be hard to see the season come to a close. I've actually really enjoyed it, but that's besides the point. Before we talk any more footy, I want to say shout out to everyone who's been supporting the YouTube channel. Okay, liking, subscribing. We're doing some numbers on there. All right, we're almost at 3K. We're at 2.5K, 2.45 or something. Anyway, we're climbing the ranks. Thank you for all the likes on the videos. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for viewing. All right, so we're doing pretty well over on the YouTube. Shout out to the listeners on Spotify. We are on Spotify right now, okay? If you're watching this video and you go, shit, man, Spotify is a way better platform for me to consume your content. We are Fight and Field podcast on Spotify because coming up in the future, we're going to be doing a podcast, an actual weekly podcast, hour and a half, 2 hours long, where we just, all of this is sort of bulked into one. Round recaps and punters playbooks and stuff like that, and fight IQs. All right, so that's all bulked into one. So yeah, Spotify. If you're the busy listener, if you're the busy rugby league fan, and you've got too much on the go, and you can only listen, all right, you can listen from anywhere on your drive to work, at home, laying in bed, in your undies. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I probably wouldn't be listening in my undies if I were you, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're on Spotify. That's the main point of this whole rant, okay? So listen to us on Spotify if you're busy, all right? If you're making a trip, if you're on an aeroplane. This is getting out of hand. We're on Spotify. Listen to us on Spotify. But for all the people who are watching the YouTube video, yes, I'm wearing an old boy's hat, an old boy's cap, cheese cutter, whatever you want to call it, all right? Honestly, just because we're going to get wise here. Just because we're going to get wise in this episode. We're going to get old, and I'm going to lay down a little bit of my wisdom. Enough of the ramble and the schmamble. Thanks for all the support. Check out the Instagram, listen on Spotify, and let's get into the recap in the round of Rugby League. Thursday, the Thursday night game. Storm, Broncos. Storm win 22-2. A complete defensive shutout from the Storm. All right, doesn't help the Broncos lost 2 players in the one play. Both Adam Reynolds and Ezra both go out with a hamstring in the exact same play. All right, Broncos get a penalty. They're attacking the line. I think Ezra might have been, or someone of the sort, throws a cutout, doesn't quite make its mark. Xavier Coates tips it off the tips of his fingers, makes the intercept, takes it downfield, almost scores a length of the field try. If it wasn't for Selwyn Cobbo. Selwyn Cobbo gets there just in the nick of time, drags Coates out. But in that whole play, in that whole chaotic length of the field burst from Xavier Coates, chases Adam Reynolds and Ezra both do a hammy, lad. Get sniped. There's a Melbourne fan in the crowd and snipes him. Snipes the hammy. Very, very Herbie-esque. Herbie, if you're not caught up to speed, you didn't watch last week's episode of Round Recap. Okay, Herbie did his hamstring in a similar way. Making a break, running, length of field, does his hammy. So Ezra and Reynolds both hamstringed out, and then Cobbo towards the end of the game also does a hammy. So all 3 of them out with hammies, man, in one game. Melbourne really defensive shutout. Melbourne sort of, they knew what they were going there to do. Okay, they knew what they were going there to do. No Jerome Hughes, Tyron Wishart. He played out of his boots. It was just an all-round good game from Melbourne. Defense was on point. Broncos didn't score a try. Held them scoreless, lad. That's, scoreless. But, the Broncos had moments where their attack was looking really good, but it was when it came to getting the ball over the line, they just looked very flat, confused. The passing was just bleh. But yeah, Reece Walsh's kicking game and his electric his electric play style was really threatening the Storm midfield. But when it got to that line defence from Melbourne, shut out, lad. Shut out. Nothing was happening. So yeah, shout out to Melbourne Storm. Still making a claim for finals footy, the Storm. Still looking pretty good. They are... Well, we'll check the ladder at the end of the video, but I'm pretty sure they'd be, what, 5th? 6th? Don't know. They'd be up there, though. So, yeah, shout out Storm. Or are they, like, 3rd? No, they're not. Oh, they are. Yeah, they are. They're 3rd. No. Friday night game, and this is where the cheese cutter, the old boy's cap, whatever you want to call it, this is where the wisdom comes into play, right? Because I want to... And you probably know from the thumbnail of the video, it's Nathan Cleary. He's sitting there. He's ringed up. He's got rings on both hands, because that's probably what we're going to be looking at. That's probably what we're going to be looking at. We're probably going to be looking at a dynasty of Penrith winning 9, 8, 10 straight at this rate. Because at the start of the year, when they just looked like vomit, like hot vomit, all right? And they had so many young players, and Blaze Solangi was, relatively pretty green to the number 6. You had Casey McLean, and you had the Milky Bar kid. And just, you even had a couple youthful middle forwards and stuff like that. A lot of youth in the team. It was like, well, this is the restructuring phase for Penrith. This is where Penrith have now lost, Fish, Luai, etc. The ones they lost before, Crichton, all of them. They've lost. Taruva, all of them. They've lost a lot. This is their rebuilding phase. This is where they're not going to get a 5th. And they've got to rebuild. And they've got to find their feet again before they start winning grand finals. Might make finals. At the time, start of the season didn't look like they were even going to make top 8. And guess what? They're in the top 4. They're in the top 4 due to the Warriors losing the Bulldogs and them putting 48 points, 48 to 12 on the Knights. They're in the top 8. They're in the top 8, and they are now stating a claim to a premiership, maybe. Very good chance. Very good chance. Because right now, from the amount of footy I've watched all year, and you sat me down and you said, look, who's winning? Penrith, Bulldogs. I'm going Penrith. It's just that they just have that refined look to them in attack and in defence. Whereas the Bulldogs, sometimes when I watch, they'll have these really refined games. Like on the weekend, they look very refined, where everything's clicking and everything makes sense, and they're scoring tries, and they're having ball possession, and everything's flowing well for the Bulldogs. And then the next week, they'll have the performance they had against the Tigers, and it's knock-ons, and it's high tackles, and it's just bad completion rate, no tries, etc. All right, it's that, and then for them to then get back into that refined state, they have to go back to the drawing board, and they have to dump Reid Marnie back to the bench. They have to bring, Bailey Haywood into the starting number 9 position. Like, they have to do all these things, all these little mix-up, switch-ups to look refined again. Whereas Penrith, who haven't had a bad game since, what are they, 7 in a row right now? They haven't had a bad game since middle of the season. Since before, I honestly reckon the last bad Penrith performance was against, I think it was against the Knights at Bathurst, maybe. I'm not sure. Their last bad performance is, I can't even remember when their last bad performance was, okay? But that's just because they've figured it out. It clicks for them now, and they're just going to fuck. They're going to fuck every time. And I've seen it before. I've seen it in years before, okay? As I'm sure a lot of you have, so the cheese cutter, the wise old sage cap isn't going to really be enough to put this point across, okay? Because you guys have lived it. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's going to be 5 in a row. And there's not much we can fucking do about it. I made a video earlier a few months ago now. Sound the alarms. Sound the alarms because they're looking good again. And now really sound the alarms because they're in the top 4 and they've done what's never been done. They've gone from the bottom of the ladder to the top freaking 4. They're going to play in the top 4 of the finals. Shit, they might even make top 3. The Bulldogs have got a really difficult run going into finals. Canberra have got it pretty smooth. I'm not sure about Melbourne. They might even make top 3 or top 2. That's the honesty to it. That's the honesty to it. We'll talk more about that at the end of the video when we look at the ladder. I have nothing to say about the Knights here. I don't have much to say about the game. Okay, except every single Penrith player on that field played out of their boots. All right, Blaze and Nathan can cross positions, confuse. They're playing really confusing rugby league. Casey McLean is just like slowly making a statement that, maybe, and I'm probably going to catch some hate for this, maybe Stephen Crichton isn't as good as a naturally gifted player as we thought he was. Maybe it's just that Penrith system, because Casey McLean, who is looking like a freak in that centre position. And then you got the Milky Bar at the side of just that whole Penrith side is just fucked. And they beat the Knights this bad. The Knights with one of the highest defence stats in the league this year. Penrith blew them out of the water. No, Isaiah, great win for Penrith. I need to get off this topic because I've been here for too long. This video is going to drag out, which means a couple of these games are going to have to get bit of a glazing over. Sort of like this one, Raiders Manly. Raiders put it on Manly pretty bad here. It was close. It was close for a little bit here. Like, it was back and forth. At one point, it was 12-10. The Raiders take a little while to heat up. They take a little while to gain a little bit of steam, I've found after watching them this year. It's pretty rare that they just start fucking off the bat. But yeah, 28-12. Shout out Jas Tavanga, who was just going out there, and he was playing a bit of a goofy brand of rugby league. He was going out there and he's doing the Viking clap when they were up 2 points, and he was, not square at the marker, and he was giving away penalties, and he did something else foolish as well. Then he went on social media after the game and just sort of backed himself in the comment sections. Not a great look, but he backed himself in the comment sections, said some pretty funny things. If I can find him, I'll pop him up on screen. I doubt I'll be able to find him though, so this is probably a useless edit. Pew, 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 pew. But yeah, Raiders get it done. I think Ethan Strange had a hat-trick. Sebi Chris scored a try. Not too much to talk about here. The Raiders fuck. The Raiders are going to be minor premiers. It's not too hard to see. And we accidentally clicked on the game, so we get to look if Ethan Strange did, in fact, score a hat-trick, which he did. Ethan Strange, 3 tries. Shout out, Strangey boy. It's honestly shocking how similar Ethan Strange looks to Jack Whiten. Completely off topic, but anyway. Dragons, Sharks. Dragons beat the Sharks 22-14. The Sharks here, I backed the Sharks pretty hard. I honestly thought the Sharks, even though it was at Jubilee Stadium, I thought the Sharks would sort of just, sort of be playing badminton with Dragons players. I don't know, that's a terrible analogy. I thought the Sharks would just be walking all over them. But they didn't. Okay, and the Dragons showed a lot of heart and a lot of grit, and it's 2 on the trot. And I said in Punter's Playbook last week that, well, things were going to get biblical if the Dragons won 2 in a row. Things were going to get real biblical. I'm talking water turns to blood, it starts raining blood, floods, rapid flooding, tsunamis, earthquakes, the ground opens up, and hell arises. It was going to get real biblical. Hasn't happened yet. Could be a 3 on the trot type of thing. But, they did in fact beat the Sharks 22-14. So, just once again proves that Sharks are the most soft, weak top 8 side in the league. I know they're probably not, I don't think they're in the top 8 right now, but they've been in the top 8 and they've played around in the top 8 this year. They're a weak, soft side, inconsistent, I think, really. Show up different every game, so yeah. Dolphins, Roosters, man, this game was, if you're a Dolphins fan, right? If you're a Roosters fan, man, this was the best time of your life. If you're a Dolphins fan, sucks to be you. The one debutant guy out on the wing, he scored a double. Other than that, Dolphins really, really, really bad. Like, one of the worst performances from the Dolphins I've seen all year. This was shockingly bad. Like, the errors, couldn't complete a set. I just didn't watch. I watched like the first half. I think I watched the first half, and I could just see where it was going. I was like, oh, maybe the Dolphins got a half time in them. They come back out and they just fire up. And I watched like 5 minutes of the second half, and it was just worse. It was worse, and it was just not worth. It wasn't worth my watch, so I didn't watch it. But yeah, the Roosters just ravaged them. Ravaged them. 64-12 is one of the all-time humpings this year. Like, that's vicious. That's vicious. Anyone comments something about South Sydney right now, I'll lose it. But no, this is one of the most vicious humpings I've seen all year. 64-12. Tedesco, scored a double, I'm pretty sure. Spencer Leniu scored a double. Not a double. Spencer Leniu scored one. But Spencer Leniu gave us a great moment there. The back of the field, I think it was something with Francis Molo or something. I don't know. One of the Molos. Out the back of the field, Mark Nwanganiwase just scored a try. And Leniu is squaring up, lad. On the rugby league pitch. Putting them up. Like it's the UFC. This is Fighting Field Insights. So I probably have a really good ground to stand on here when I talk about this one, okay? Look, the hands were okay. They were a little bit low. It was more of a scare tactic, I feel, than more of a actual fighting stance, okay? Good base on him. Wouldn't mind if he sort of brought the legs a little closer together. And as far as he needed to win the outside foot battle at the end of the day. He was just a little bit too square. He was stuck in the mud. As Conor McGregor would say, he's like a stick in the mud. All right. He needed to get himself a little bit more angled, and sort of expose that hand on the outside, and just, sort of jab him up. Obviously, the fight never came to toe due to an influx of Dolphins and Roosters players, but we almost got there. But yeah, a few pointers for Spencer. Just sort of angle yourself a little bit more and just win the outside foot battle, and maybe raise the guard a little bit. Anyway, I could definitely see Spencer taking up influencer boxing in the future. He's going to be the Paul Gallen of our generation, the Sonny Bill of our generation. But yeah, Roosters, all-time humping. Not much else to say. Dogs, Warriors, Dogs can play in the wet, all right? I, last minute, put all my money on the Warriors to win because it was in the wet, because I seen the rain pouring down. I was like, Warriors got this. Warriors play in the wet for fun, but no. The Bulldogs win, 32-14. This is a pretty timeless win for the Bulldogs. Turn the clock back on everyone saying they can't play in the wet. Played outstanding in the wet. Great completion rate. As I said at the start of the video, refined. They just had to kick Reid to the bench, and they had to bring Bailey Hayward in, the starting hooker, just to refine things again. Until next week when they find another error, and then it's back to the drawing board. But yeah, I don't know if I have much to say about this. I want a multi on this one. So I can't hate it too much. Shout out Billy Kicks and shout out Renkamba on the wind. Titans, Rabbits! I smell a promotion. I hope I put some videos on. Then it just sounds really awkward. We beat the Titans 2018, and it feels so good, all right. And I was actually working as this happened. Had a bit of a project of my own on the go, and I decided to make a little bit of extra moolah on the side, on top of what I was going to win on Latrell Mitchell scoring any time. And, so I really went old boy. I really went with the old boy's cap and the cheese cutter, if you will. And I had this playing on the wireless, on the radio, and I was just sitting there listening in for try scorers, listening in for big moments, okay? Bit of a grounding experience. Let's just say when you see your team lose, like 8 or 9 in a row, sometimes the only option is to listen to it via radio. So, man, this is great. It's the first time we've got a win since like round 14 or round 15. I was stoked. I haven't stopped smiling. I mean, I know it's the Titans, but like now the Titans have to play like the most A-standard brand of rugby league to not get the spoon. Like all we got to do now is have our bye, maybe win a game. Like if the Troops come back when we play Parramatta this weekend or the Dragons next weekend, if the Troops come back, dude, we might have a chance of getting another one. Because now, with one brings two, I've always been a huge believer in the saying, one brings two. All right? With one win brings two wins. Two wins brings three, and three brings four, and so on and so forth. We've only got 3 more wins games for the year due to us having a bye. But, this was huge, man. I love this. Trell Mitt, I don't think we would have won this game without him. He made the try save over Jaden Campbell. He was just injecting himself into the game. Set up 2 tries for Alex Johnson. I should say right now, Alex Johnson is 4 tries away from beating the record. So, I don't know if I want to make a promise, but I'll make a temporary promise. All right, that we will live stream every South Sydney game for the rest of the year because 3 games, 4 tries to go. Statistically, he's just got to score at least 2 tries in one game, or one try. Two tries in one game, and then one try in the other games. And then he does it. So Rugby League statistics predicted that it would be against the Roosters. So we're definitely going to be doing that one because it's a Friday night game. So we're definitely going to be doing that one. But you never know. Like Parramatta this weekend, he could score a quaddie. So yeah, we're going to be live streaming every Rabbitohs game at the end of the season, just in case he breaks the record. That we need to be live streaming that. So yeah. Other than that, great game. Trell saved us. I hope he's playing next week. I hope he's playing. I don't know. He looked good in the centres, but I feel like he's got more to do with the game when he's in the fullback position. So yeah. Shout out South Sydney, man. We're back. Oh, we're so back. Parramatta versus Cowboys. Parramatta get it done. 1 point. Bit of controversy there at the end with Mitchell Moses getting taken out of play by Jeremiah Nanai. Did Nanai take him out? Did Mitchie take a fall? I'm not sure. You know, at the time of watching, I was like, oh, Nanai took him out. But I was watching it again today on my phone. I was like, man, Nanai's kind of just standing there. And yeah, he's kind of standing in the play, but it's a quick game and everything's happening so quick. It's not like he can just see Mitch come and go, oh shit, sorry mate, let me get out of your way. Which obviously he probably could, but it's a quick game. But yeah, I don't know. I sort of watch it and Nene's sort of just standing there and Mitch runs into him and he kind of like almost, it looks like he tries to hold Mitch up. I'm not sure. Anyway, try gets disallowed for the Cowboys in the last minute and Parramatta win by 1 point. This was, it was an alright game. It wasn't the best round of Sunday footy. Yeah. Tigers had a bye. That's it. That's it for the round of Rugby League. It's me from the future. I just got to quickly stop in before we get to the ladder. Before you guys watch me talk about the ladder, past me talk about the ladder, I forgot to do game of the round. I forgot to do play of the round. So game of the round's got to go to South Sydney and Titans. Okay, I'm not non-biased. I'm being biased here by putting my favourite team in. It was good to see him get a win. Let me enjoy it. All right, and then play of the round is going to go to Timmy Tom Tedesco. Congratulations, player of the round. Right, go watch that. We've recapped it all. Let's look in the ladder. I probably need to start rushing things a little bit because I spent a lot of time on a few of them because it was a great round of Rugby League and I had the most fun watching it and listening to it. If we South Sydney Titans I had to, and I had bare feet in the grass. If that's any consolation, I grounded myself. I had the radio playing, but not too close, but not too far. It was sort of out of earshot so that the audio was sort of like getting picked up by the wind and taken away a little bit, just so I could faintly hear the names. Trollman, Latrell, AJ, Alex Johnson. He scored a double. Oh my god, he's 4 off. And yeah, grounding, feet in the grass as such. You get how it goes. Rightio. Raiders number 1 spot makes sense. Storm are at number 2 now, so they've actually overtaken the Bulldogs, which I think was the same last week. I don't know. Bulldogs are number 3. Penrith are number 4. So, I don't know. Penrith, I don't think Penrith actually will. When I was saying earlier they might make 3 or 4. 3 or 2. Everyone's probably like, at the time I said that, you're all probably like, shut the fuck up, man. They can't even do it. All right? It's not even statistically possible. It kind of is. But that just means the Bulldogs have to lose like every game. Or at least 2 games or 3 games. Right, whatever. So Penrith are going to be pretty comfortable here in the number 4 spot, I reckon. Warriors moving down to number 5. Hope things get better for the Wars. 2 in a row is not good. Broncos at number 6. Sharks number 7. So they are a top 8 side, lad. They are a top 8 side. I was saying then they're not a top 8 side. They are a top 8 side, and they suck, and they're soft, and they're weak, and they're... Oh, man, if the Sharks were a person, you just walk up behind them, you pants them, you dack them. And as I've said before, you bend him over your knee, you smack him on the bum, and you push him in a pile of mud. The Sharks would be just, you push them around, you tell them what to do. Just, push them around, make fun of, point and laugh. They're a real point and laugh kind of team. Dolphins still sitting at number 8. So, the Roosters beat them, but they're still in number 8. It's 26-26. Dolphins need to bounce back if they want to keep that number 8 spot. Manly, good to see Manly not in the 8. 24 points. Dragons, 22. Who, if the Dragons can continue to win, man, they might sneak their way in there, man. Tigers at 22. Parramatta, 20. Cowboys, 19. Knights, 18. Rabbitohs, 18. All right, the Bunnies, South Sydney, the greatest team of them all. It's just simple rugby league there in that number 16 spot. And the Titans are number 17, where they belong. Where they belong. It was foolish for them to ever think that they were gonna give us the spoon. That Wayne was gonna get a spoon. Wayne's not getting a spoon, lad. So yeah, that's it. Ladder's looking good. As I said at the start of the video, the Rugby League scales of justice are slowly balancing, and everyone is finding their seat for the show. The only seats that I think are undetermined as of yet, Roosters, Dolphins, there's a little bit to play out there. I think the Sharks, even though they're weak, pushover teams, point and laugh type teams, I think they will definitely make a comeback. Not a comeback, but I think they'll hold on that final spot. Unless the Dolphins and the Roosters start fucking and they both push into the 8 and push the Sharks out, which is what I would ideally want. Manly have got no chance now, I don't think. Dragons, too little too late for this bit of a biblical comeback. Tigers, too little too late. Parramatta, too little too late. And, Cowboys, Knights, Rabbitohs, unfortunately. And the Titans, all too little too late. So we kind of, there might be a little bit of a, seat switching in that bottom 11. There might be a bit of seat switching, but for the most part, that's where all of them teams will stay. And I think the top 8, apart from the Sharks, Dolphins, and Roosters, they've got a little bit to do. And then, everything will start to make sense. Broncos might even drop due to the loss of their halves. But yeah, big video this one, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I don't think I have anything else to say. I think this is it. For the round of Rugby League. Subscribe, like and subscribe to the channel. As I said at the start of the video, we're pumping out really good content. Everything's really good. I mean, it's berries and cream here at Fine Field Insights. Like and subscribe. Thank you for all your support. I really appreciate it. Go follow my Instagram and my TikTok because I'm doing bits over there, posting live stream clips, other social media stuff. Post a little bit of betting content on there too. It's a bit of a behind-the-scenes punters playbook. Put my multis and stuff on there sometimes. And, thanks for all the Spotify listeners. First time listening, maybe second time, third time. Not sure. There's 3 episodes on Spotify right now as of the recording of this. Check out the Spotify. It's if you want to listen on Spotify too, I should say, Fight and Field Podcast. Fight and Field Podcast, just in case you didn't hear me say it the first time, right? Fight and Field Podcast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Wednesday for Punters Playbook. So thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you. Bye. Shout out, can you look at the camera and say, Jai Gray, please come on the show.
Jai Gray, please come on the show, mate. You're a great ambassador for the game. Please come on.
Cheers, guys.